Hey guys, this is Joe Sal with the Cyndi Lauper Museum in Orlando, Florida. And today I wanted to talk to and have you guys learn a little bit about Ed Wenzel. Am I saying that right, Ed?
You got it right.
Ed
Ed Wenzel.
Wenzel. And do I call you Ed or Eddie?
You could call me Ed. Eddie is like, my kid name,
Okay, when you go with, well,
but that doesn't bother me.
right?
Eddie's fine.
Okay.
I also have a nom de plume, EJ Rocker. So, you know,
What's the J for?
Edward John,
Gotcha. All right, well,
EJ Rocker.
I'm gonna call you Ed, Eddie, EJ.
Okay,
So, Ed, tell us, so for those who don't know you, you are one of the original members of the band Flyer.
correct.
It's primarily a cover band in the 70s. And I was curious, how did you meet Cyndi? How did that all come about? What was your first impression of Cyndi?
Okay, the way it came about was, we were all Brooklyn, Queens friends. We were right on the borderline. Cyndi was on one side in Queens. We had friends over there. And then on the Brooklyn side was myself and a bunch of musician friends and everything. And Doc West was neighborhood friends. So I would go and see Doc West with Cyndi as a backup singer. She decided she wanted to move on from that band, talked to some people, knew of us, and sort of me and this guy, Richie, in the band, always played in other bands. You follow me?
Yeah.
Previous.
Yeah.
So she got in touch with us and wanted to do something. We were like, why not? We didn't have anything going on at the moment. And thus was the start of Flyer.
So Cyndi was the headline or the, we'll say the main singer. Did you have another singer?
No,
Just
it was
her.
just Cyndi.
Okay. So this was her first real gig as a headliner. When she was with Doc West, she was a backup singer. Did she ever do lead for Doc West?
On a couple of songs, I believe so. Like I Got the Music in Me, and she had a couple of feature spots. And Frank DeLapp really was the one who pushed her to come out from being a backup singer to get out front and sing, because she had a little bit of character.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you could ever pick that up, Joe. But
That's what took her so far, right? So Frank kind of pushed her to get out front. How long was she with Frank and Doc West?
I'm not really sure of the timeline with Doc West, with Cyndi, because obviously after Cyndi left, and I don't know the reasons or I forgot, they carried on. So they were still going and doing their thing for a while. So you might want to talk to Frank on a timeline for that.
Okay.
You know?
So at some point she came over to you guys. And
Right.
how long were you guys together?
I'd say 2.5, 3 years, something like in that window, where when you say together, it's like when we started out meeting each other and doing the band, to when she had her problems with her voice, but was going out with Richie. So we were still friends and everything, like I previously mentioned. So I'd say, yeah, 2.5, whatever, it's a gap.
So the timeline is interesting to me because from what I've read and what I've put together, she lost her voice, we believe, in 77. I guess she blew out her vocal cords.
Yeah, that seems about right.
That was during the time that she was with you guys. Do you remember anything about that?
Oh, most definitely. The thing was, at that time, it was like heavy rock. It was hard for a lot of male vocals. Pat Benatar, Hart. So she had to go from doing like a female thing to doing like Bruce Springsteen. And it was hard for her. She'd be going from one range to another. And she was really a trooper and did it. But I know it bothered her that she felt in Flyer, she blew her voice out. We didn't want to, see that happen to her. It was like being a victim of the times. And, the way we look at it is like, it was a hard thing to go through. But if it answers your question, Cyndi went to Katie Agresta, learned how to sing right. If it wasn't for that, like karma, she may be a housewife in Queens singing at a karaoke bar.
Mhm.
So, destiny had something in there too, that there's a positive side to a bad side also. If
Absolutely.
you follow me, if that makes sense.
It does, yeah.
You know.
So tell the group, whoever's watching, a little bit about the kind of music you guys did. I think it was kind of like Led Zeppelin, Jefferson Airplane, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it was pretty varied. Like what we tried to do is medley of songs too. So we would do Led Zeppelin, like you said, Springs to Peter Frampton. Some of the stuff we try and help Cyndi, we would sing, take the workload off her. She could sing harmony with us on some of those songs. And we did the heart thing, like I mentioned. We would do a bunch of stuff. And we did, at the time, the Starship was revitalized and very big again. So we did a whole Jefferson Airplane, Jefferson Starship, almost like a half-hour set.
Okay.
Which Cyndi sang, if you don't mind me saying, the shit out of. She was great at that. And it's probably because she doesn't have to do a male vocal, too. I don't know, but I suspect.
So what was your role in the band? What did you play? Did you sing?
Yeah, I sang some backup, bass player, and mostly tried to look good. I was younger. I have pictures I could show you, the typical 70s thing.
Oh, we saw that picture. We'll have to show it again. We also saw that picture of the five, I think it was the five of you laying there basically in a naked pile.
Yeah, that was Cindy's posing us, you know?
Funny. It was very
so
simple.
She always had an idea about what she wanted to do. Even then, anything she put herself into, she knew what she wanted to try and do, even if it didn't get done. And for that, I always, if anybody ever asked me about what was my first impressions with Cyndi, number one, very driven. Always driven for if she wanted a nice, crazy haircut, but she would get it done. If she had an idea, she wouldn't talk about it. She would do it and try and get everybody else in line to do it, even if at the time we thought it was crazy. All right, Joe? But you gotta, do you see what I'm saying? She was always driven. And that's part of why she got where she did get to.
Absolutely, which is kind of what took her so far. So who was in the band? It was you and Cyndi, and then Frank was still with Doc West. He didn't come over.
Correct. So what happened was Doc West took off, and we were doing our thing with Flyer. And at the time, the biggest thing was you started at ground level. You're always looking for the better gigs, and that's what we were doing. But so was Doc West. So it was like then we had a little competition.
Okay.
Of course, we were friends, but Cindy's in Flyer now.
Uh-huh.
We're all vying for the better gigs. And we were taking those steps, as far as the tri-state. Starting out local clubs, then we get like the popular agent that would get you in the really good clubs and maybe open for some known acts, So that's where we were, just trying to build and get our culture going, for lack of a better term. Am I answering your questions okay, Joe?
Yeah, you're doing great. I'm learning a lot. And then next, I would say, I want to know the places that you played, the gigs, the clubs, are any of those still around?
Probably a lot of them are gone. But let's face it, some were bar clubs. They're probably still around under a different name. Or they've been turned into restaurants,
Sure.
The age of live, especially in the tri-state, I don't know how it is by you. The live bands and everything sort of died down, So everybody had a space. They turned it into a restaurant, maybe with music,
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So what are some of your favorite memories of that time?
Um, just advancing, getting to play bigger clubs, you know, growing, the band growing, seeing Cyndi grow with the band, and opening for some other acts that became famous, sharing the stage with them at the whole circuit at that time. Like Twisted Sister, they were popular. We'd be doing a lot of gigs with them. Maybe somebody come along, play a Long Island club. That was like sort of happening. You know what I mean? Uh, just starting to sell commercially, not a cover act. We'd open up for them. So that was like a big thing, you know. Anything else?
Oh yeah, I got lots of questions. So the songs that you guys were doing, did you ever do any original songs or were they all covers?
We did mostly covers.
And then we've heard on the internet clips, a couple snippets have gotten out, and I think that's probably you who helped.
Yeah.
Who has the rights to the songs? How many songs are there? How many recordings? Are these demos? Are these live sets? What do you have?
The stuff that I've put out was us on the gig, taken from our board. So it was a live feed. The rights, it's commercial music. Zeppelin, all that stuff is theirs, So you got to be careful, I think there's a separation where you can't do it and make money without getting the publishing rights and letting them know what's going on and getting approval, compared to like a little snippet of like Flyer, a band doing commercial music. That's why I don't post a lengthy version. You get me?
Yeah, exactly. So the fans, whether they're just fans from that time or Led Zeppelin fans or Cyndi fans, is there any hope that music will see the light of day?
Yeah, if we could work it out. At one point there was like we had a whole CD that was pretty good live recording of us. And I do have some music when like Cyndi was trying to do her thing with Blue Angel, we stopped doing cover music and we were working as the goal to try and get signed in an original band. So I have some of that music too. We changed the name. How's this name, Joe? I mean, consider the times. Are you ready? We called ourselves the Dibbles. See, I think it was laughable, right? But the music wasn't bad. But again, it was a heavier side, more like power pop than something Cyndi would have liked.
So Cyndi left. You guys became the Dibbles.
Yeah. See, you can't stop laughing, right?
It's catchy. So then she went on at some point to Blue Angel. So when she her first recording, I believe, studio recording that was sold was when she did a cover of "You Make Lovin' Fun" by Fleetwood Mac.
Run that by me again, Joe.
You may not have heard this. This is a really 70s sounding version of "You Make Lovin' Fun," and it's
right.
synth, but they've slowed it down so it doesn't really sound like Cyndi. And my understanding is that's the first kind of commercial recording she did. She's talked in interviews about making like, I don't know, $30 or something for singing it. So I'm assuming that came after you guys.
See, and I thought maybe I have a slight recollection of that. I thought that came after she was signed to Portrait. Epic.
That may have been released after she got famous.
Right.
The recording happened long before She's So Unusual.
Okay. So then maybe, with the stuff that we have, if that got released and they messed with the vocal, right? Mm-hmm. That's what you said?
Yeah.
See what we could do, Well,
I know there's a lot of people out there who would love, love, love to hear this stuff released. So I'm glad that you've kind of tempted the fans a little bit with what you have. Hopefully something will come of it.
Bear in mind, the one thing me and Cyndi still talk, although it's sparser, the last few years, but I always talk to her, and especially when it comes to the old recordings of Flyer, I always ask her and give her the courtesy, is this okay to even post it?
Sure.
So if she said no, it wouldn't be out there.
Yeah.
Again, the reason I'm saying it, Joe, I would have to do that again. I would want her approval.
Yeah, it's not worth making anybody upset.
Yeah.
So,
Joe, I want to see you laugh one more time. The dibbles.
it sounds like your naughty bits or something. Like, what does that word even mean?
Yeah. Take care of your dibbles.
Okay. All right. So you guys were talking
Right?
masturbation even before she bought. That's good. You get the original credit for that. So
Okay.
one of the reasons I'm sitting here is because I wanted whoever's watching to see what you have sent to the museum.
Okay.
And the reason that this is a big deal to me, and I was telling you about this a little earlier off camera, most of the things I have here are regarding Cyndi's wardrobe. So an outfit, shoes, a hat, bracelets, things like that. But this is the first piece of real, I would say, musical history that we have here now. And it came from your garage.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about what this is, because when it showed up, I didn't know how to even put it together. So what is this?
Well, that's original 70s Atlas music stand with the Shure SM58 microphone from the time. And the boom would sometimes be used by either Richie, myself, or Jimmy, because we play guitar, and it would give you a little more freedom. But then sometimes, that was when we were starting out. When we started elevating ourselves to the better clubs, okay, we had a little video burp there. Are we good again, Joe?
We're good.
Okay. So when we started playing the better clubs, Cyndi would do more, typical tambourine, certain things she'd want to, accessories, singer accessories.
Yeah.
She would use that boom and hang them on them. So it was sort of, convenient for her. And it went back and forth, but Cyndi used that too.
Sounds very Fleetwood Mac. And then sounds very
right. Stevie Nicks always uses a boom because she's dancing and swinging, right? Revolving, dreaming of witches and her next cocaine shipment. Can I say that?
You already did. I don't think she's going to see this.
I hope nobody gets mad at that.
Nah, you're having fun. Here's my question. When this got here, I noticed there's a piece of tape that says Cyndi on it. Can you tell us who wrote that?
Well, that's actually for me just to designate from back in the day, who's, especially after she just left, that was Cyndi's mic, and we had other singers come in.
So everybody had their own mic?
Well, we had our own gear.
Yeah.
But you follow me, Joe? After Cyndi's replacement singers came in, I always wanted to make sure that stayed with me.
How did you know?
Because they would sing an SM58, you follow me, and bring their own mic.
I see. So
I didn't want to get mixed up.
Okay. Well, it turns out that you basically preserved a piece of Cyndi's history without even realizing it. And you saved it all these years. Why didn't it get tossed out at some point?
Why didn't it get tossed out? Because it's part of Cyndi's heritage with the band. And I'm a cheapskate. I was like, the stuff still works. I'm not throwing it out.
Okay. All right. So on some level, you knew that there may be some significance to it. On another level, you just keep everything. Thankfully, you did.
Yeah.
Because when you messaged me and said that you had that, I basically was ready to have a heart attack. Because, typically these things are not preserved or saved or earmarked or cataloged. And so this was a big, big honor to have this shipped here. Now, granted, you didn't just donate that. I purchased that from you. Tell us a little bit about either what you use the money for, or kind of like something you're really interested in right now. What's your recent cause?
Well, aside from, I really felt that it should be in your possession
Thank you.
because you have the museum and it is a piece of history. The other thing is you did offer to buy it, and with that, I really didn't feel like I want your money just to put in my wallet. I felt if a dual purpose, I felt it would be better in your hands. And with the money, I made a contribution that I really feel like is because you did pay for it. We both made a contribution to Joe Biden's campaign. That's what I did with the money. And I saved some part of that, where a special thing to me is no kids go hungry. And I'm going to donate that portion, thanks to you, to No Kid Go Hungry. Unfortunately, there's a lot of questions about some of those sites, and I really want to make sure the money goes to good use and it's not a scam.
Sure.
That end, I'm researching a bunch of places right now. So really, you got that mic, but your money and the mic, me passing it to you, we helped Joe Biden's campaign, and it's going to go to a good cause for kids. It's win-win-win to me.
Thank you. I think that's great. I think that, there's nothing wrong with keeping money if you want it to profit, but clearly you're not a profiteer. You are, I guess, trying to pass it on and do good for others.
Play it forward. I believe we need a change. That's my personal belief, and again, like Cyndi, I came from, my parents were divorced. So I knew what it was like to go hungry and go through stuff. And it's tough. And that's why I want to really get this going.
That's cool. That means a lot. I think that's really, really.
Play it forward, right?
Are you saying play it forward or pay it forward?
Play it forward.
Because I've always heard pay it forward, but in your case, you're a musician, so you can play it forward.
No, this is play it forward. We should all do that. If we have something we could give, we should play it forward and help others that don't have it.
Agreed. Well, this will definitely not be leaving my possession until the day I die. And then I guess I'll have to figure out who gets it after that. So thank you for trusting me with it.
And like I said, it still works. So if you ever want to get a little PA or an amp and start howling along with Cyndi's song, you could do it right through the mic.
Well, I'm not a musician, but good to know. Maybe we'll have a concert here sometime.
Okay.
In fact, you and I have talked briefly about it would be fun one day or interesting to get maybe some of the old peeps together from the different bands and pull something off like that. Maybe a Cyndi Con or something. And I know you and I and Curtis from Lauperland have talked about maybe doing something like that. So that's all in talks. I think that would be a lot of fun to do something like that.
Hey, whatever, it'll be fun.
I think so too. So I guess what I want to know before I let you go is, where are the band members from Flyer now? Where do you guys live? What are you doing? And if you're, I know you're performing, but if people want to find you or see you, how do they get to you?
Well, it's funny you should say that. I have, I put sporadic stuff up once in a while, but just knocking around if they want to check it out. Ed Wenzel on SoundCloud. You could listen to some of the stuff I play on and put up. And available on all internet sites, CD Baby, you name it, the Red, White, and Blues CD.
So that's your band, Red, White, and Blues?
That's actually, it's funny. This band has members of Doc West in it, okay? The DeLappy brothers, myself, obviously, and the remaining members are keyboard player Teddy Wender, and lead vocalist Rick Zivick, and they were in a band called 3D, who were doing really well at the same time as Cyndi. They were on Mercury Records, touring. They played Saturday Night Live with Paul McCartney, and it was during the Eddie Murphy era
Okay.
with G. Dalmanian. And they have their own studio, Pro Line. They're doing really good. So the Red, White, and Blues is like three bands from the 80s culminating together. You know, it's like the sky cracked. And we
So 70s and 80s, because it was it's Doc West.
Yes.
3D. Am I saying that right?
3D. You could look them up on YouTube.
As in three-dimensional.
You know? And then
is spelled.
Since you asked, then from 3D, like I said, Teddy has, first of all, when they signed with Mercury Records, they have almost like a history for the getting the most money up front for a new band from a label. So they made a lot of money just signing with, you know, Polydor, Mercury, and everything. And then they got the studio. That's where they got the money to build, you know, Pro Town. And Teddy does these jazzmatic CDs, and I've had the pleasure. He's asked me to play on them. I played on them, and they're on the interweb. Same thing, CD Baby, you know, all the downloadable sites.
So his last name's Wender. Your last name is Wenzel, W-E-N-Z.
Right.
Okay.
And Teddy is actually like the Wender family is famous for having a foundation. They're very well to do. So he's got that whole lineage going for him, you know?
I think it's...
Since you asked.
I just think it's...
Go ahead.
Have stayed in contact all these years and still work together. It seems like a tight-knit community.
Yes. Well, like I said, you know, people come in and out, even with Flyer after Cyndi left. But you had a group of guys that had that Brooklyn boroughs kind of thing going. They did too, you know? Yeah. So that's how we came together. Now, you asked about the guys from Flyer, Joe?
Yeah.
Okay. Unfortunately, Richie Mundell, one of the guitar players we had too, passed away, 13, I lost count. That's terrible. But a few years ago from stomach cancer. Okay. Jimmy Perini was the other guitar player. He went on to have a very lucrative career as a stockbroker and even owned seats on the exchange himself for a while. Now he's retired. He has a band, if you look around and you're in the Long Island area, called the Out of Hand Band. You see them playing? Jimmy's in that band. Okay, Jimmy Perini. And then Charlie Kappa, our drummer, he was always into butterflies. And as a hobby, he became, I forget how you say it, like Lapidopoulos, you know, a butterfly expert.
Okay.
So he's been asked by museums around the country to come and give his opinions on butterfly houses. Became the big thing. So he's a butterfly expert. He would do that. He did work for Nickelodeon as a consultant on a show called Jenny Starfly or something. And he runs the butterfly house. There's an aquarium butterfly house in Riverhead, New York, which is out on the island towards Montauk.
Okay.
And he's the big muckety-muck. That's his gig now. So he's still working there doing that.
You know, so not everybody stayed in the music industry, but you're still playing. So
yeah.
You live now in South Carolina, Myrtle Beach?
Yes. Myrtle Beach, you got that right.
Okay.
Yeah. So a lot of opportunities for gigs. And, you know, let's face it, we're getting older, so you cut down and everything.
Sure.
But it's just something in your DNA, you know. We still enjoy getting out. You know, like they always say, applause, applause, applause. Some people need that, you know. I don't know if it's as much that as it used to be, but it's still fun. You know, I still got something I feel to say musically, and
Well, I've
I
heard
hope that
you sing.
answered
You
your
got a great
question.
voice.
Huh?
I've heard you sing. You got a great voice.
Oh, thank you. Back in the day, I was told the opposite.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I guess you get better as you get older.
that's it, like wine,
Yeah. So,
right?
yeah, earlier you showed me a picture. Can you show us that picture again?
Now, which one?
The one of
The
Cyndi.
one with the boom?
Yes.
See, we're getting older, so the memory isn't,
Forgot already.
yeah. Can you see it? I know there's a reflection.
Yeah, I can see that. Who is that? Just a girl dancing?
That's a girl, a friend of ours, in
Okay.
the corner.
Yeah.
Sure.
And is that
Linda Cuevas.
okay? It looks like
You see Cyndi.
Richie playing guitar.
Yeah.
Which one's you?
Now, right there.
That's you?
Yeah, on bass.
Okay.
So that would be Linda. There's Richie. Richie and Cyndi were an item.
How long were they together?
Like I said, for a while. I think, who knows, maybe the reason Cyndi reached out to Richie was more than just musical to start a band. You know, maybe she saw him and was like, wow, this guy ain't bad looking. Let me see, you know, if I could torture him. I'm kidding, of course.
Of course. Is there anything that you think we should know, or do you have any clips you can play for us?
Well, it's hard doing, for me, doing the interview with you and then setting up some live gear. I will give you stuff down the road,
Okay.
you know?
I know
But
there's
what I
people who would
thought,
love to
see,
or
most
hear
of the stuff, huh?
it. I know there are people who would love to see or hear it.
Yeah, we'll get that done. But like you could see, there's what are these? 70 in a box. Just on these two boxes alone, that's all Cyndi and Flyer that are on slides. So I want to get those transposed to JPEGs. And if you ask for anything new and different, do you have time?
I do. Yeah, of course.
Okay, I figured I'd show you a couple of the growing years.
Okay.
In other words, I always felt like, you know, once Cindy's professional, you got professional people coming in, you know, aside from like her band members now, they spend a lot of time with her, but they didn't grow up with her. We were actually going through a growth period, you know, and I feel it's a little different.
So
I'm also, I hope I'm coming across, huh?
Were you like in your early 20s?
Yeah, yeah. Now, I just see myself as a little thumbnail.
Uh-huh.
You're seeing the pictures fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you want to see more?
Yeah.
Here's where,
Oh, wow.
like, Flyer was sort of like climbing that ladder of playing bigger clubs.
Uh-huh.
We had a big PA that we would carry, our own truck, and you see our logo.
I was going to say
hung
that
up in the
70s logo. Cool.
Yeah, yeah. Almost hardish, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
We didn't cop that.
That's cool.
All right. Here's Cyndi hanging out at a club. See,
Wow.
before, just neighborhood, not done up.
Yeah.
Hope
Yeah, I was going to say,
she doesn't mind.
So natural.
You like shots like that? You want to see more?
Anytime you want to show, I am willing to share with either see or share with the other fans.
Here is Cyndi. Thanksgiving at my mom's house.
Oh my gosh.
That's how close we were. Richie's there too in the corner. That's Cyndi and my aunt.
Wow.
Before we cut the bird.
Wow. Look at that hair.
Right.
Very Farrah Fawcett, you know?
And that was one of her better cuts. Here you go again. Cyndi leaning on a pole.
That's neat. Brown hair.
Yeah. The bartender must have been mixing good that night. And here's like an early shot when we were just starting out in the clubs.
Neat.
See Cyndi in the corner?
Uh-huh. Yeah, I bet these bars are very dark and smoky and
Yeah, it's hard to see. That's why I asked. And here's Cyndi, where would,
well,
we were in
yeah.
my apartment
Mhm.
and we would just get crazy.
Sure.
And Cyndi looks like she's having a good time in that chair, right?
She looks like she wants to have fun.
Yeah. Any more, or you got other questions, Joe?
I think I'm good. I think you've taught us a lot. Thank you for, telling us a little bit about your history and Cyndi's history. I don't think many people have heard much about Flyer or from Flyer, so it's been really neat getting to know you and hearing about.
Same here.
So we appreciate hearing from you.
Great. And I got to show you just one more thing. Do you
Yeah,
mind?
of course.
As we were going, like trying to get the better gigs, as I said earlier,
Uh-huh.
we would go to Jumpin' Jack Flash in the city, off the 59th Street Bridge. It was like a big clothing, like Screaming Mimi's was.
Okay.
It was like in the 70s, the big velvet, rocker look. So here I am. I don't know if you could see it, in my silver satin pants with Cyndi.
Whoa.
Very, very 70s, as you say, right?
That's funny. Do you still have those?
I could use it for a shirt sleeve now.
That was, it's funny because I grew up in the 80s, so of course I'm an 80s kid, but the 70s to me is so funny. It's so over the top,
Yeah. Well, can't you say that even more so about the 80s for me?
Sure. That is true.
I mean, we dressed over the top, but the thing was like trying to take the music louder, harder,
Yeah.
The 80s, when you look back at some of that, the hairdos, the makeup, it's hard for some of it to be viable today too, right? Just like the 70s.
Didn't you tell me that Cyndi wanted you to get a mohawk?
Yes.
And what happened?
Yeah.
Did you get a mohawk?
No, because the Brooklyn in me came out. I was like, you got to be kidding me, I don't want no freaking mohawk, Cyndi. Sorry. That's all.
Yeah, you can't sell out.
Yeah.
Well, listen,
and I have no regret. That's one thing. People always ask me, well, Cyndi did really good. Do you have a lot of regret? I always have a hard time with that word. Regrets. And no, it is what it is. Fate hands you what you got, and I got a great family, great kids. We didn't suffer for anything, both had good jobs, not decent, good jobs. So it's just fun,
Well, congratulations. I'm glad that you're doing well. We'll stay in touch, and thanks for taking the time to do this and letting me share this with the other fans.
Yeah, and we do like to go real camping, Joe.
Yeah.
If you get my drift.
Okay, we can meet up and do some camping. I don't know that it'll be in a tent though.
Nah, you're right.
All right,
I got you. All right.
Thank you.
Good.
Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
I hope you could use it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.